Jai Radha Madhavam Kunja Bihari. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya. Astotra Satsi Srimad Divine Grace of Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Swami the Founder Charges Divine Grace of the Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya. Astotra Satsi Srimad Divine Grace of the Bhakti Santa Marashila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anandagari Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Giradhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Dai Gauravimanandi. All glories to the sum of the devotees. All glories to the sum of the devotees. All glories to the sum of the devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Namah Vishnu Parai Krishna Padastavale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitanamini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Vishesha Shunyavadi Pastatari Starani. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 20, entitled Conversation Between Maitreya and Vidura. Today we're going to be discussing text, what is it? 52? Okay, text 52. Please repeat. Tapasa Vijaya Yukto. Tapasa Vijaya Yukto. Yogena Sa Samadhina. Su. Yogena Su Samadhina. Rishin Rishi Rishikesha. Rishin Rishi Rishikesha. Sasajabi Matak Praja. Sasajami Vamat Punja Praja. Tapasa Vidyaya Yukto. Yogena Su Samadhina. Rishin Rishi Rishikesha. Sasajabhi Matak Praja. Tapasa Vidyaya Yukto. Yukto. Yogena Susamajina. Ladies. Tapasa, by penance. Vidyaya, by worship. Yukta, being engaged. Yogena, by concentration of the mind in devotion. Susamadhina, by nice meditation. Rishin, the sages. Rishi, the first seer. Brahma. Rishikesha, the controller of his senses. Susarja, created. Abhimata, beloved. Praja, sons. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada Ki Jai. Having equipped himself with austere penance, adoration, mental concentration, and absorption in devotion, accompanied by dispassion, right? And having controlled his senses, Brahma, the self-born living creature, evolved great sages as his beloved sons. Purport. The ritualistic performances of sacrifice are meant for material economic development. In other words, they are meant to keep the body in good condition for cultivation of spiritual knowledge. But for actual attainment of spiritual knowledge, other qualifications are needed. What is essential is vidya, or worship of the Supreme Lord. Sometimes the word yoga is used to refer to the gymnastic performances of different bodily postures, which help mental concentration. Generally, the different bodily postures in the yoga system are accepted by less intelligent men to be the end of yoga. But actually they are meant to concentrate the mind upon the Supersoul. After creating persons for economic development, Brahma created sages who would set the example for spiritual realization. Om Jnanati Mirandasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Sigurinama Guru Divachalam Bangam Langayate Girimakridam Vande Siguram Dinataram Paramananda Marvam Sitaitan Ishvaram. Having equipped himself with austere penance, adoration, mental concentration, and absorption in devotion, accompanied by dispassion, and having controlled his senses, Brahma, the self-born living creature, evolved great sages as his beloved sons. So as we heard so nicely yesterday, the Lord states, Yagya Dhanatapakriya Bhavaninam Manishinam, that yagya, sacrifice, charity, austerity, these things are necessary because they purify even the pure souls, even the pure practitioners of spiritual life. It's recommended that they engage in these programs, in these austerities, these activities, for continuous purification, because as we know, we're a conditioned soul, so the conditioned soul is liable to be attracted by the material energy, and may sometimes misunderstand what the purpose of these sacrifices, austerities and penances, charities, yoga practice, what their purpose is. Srila Prabhupada explains here very nicely that the purpose of them is for spiritual knowledge. And one has to be equipped to understand that. As the translation here, Prabhupada points out so nicely, that Brahma, having equipped himself, just like in any exercise that you do in the material world, you have to be equipped for it. Whether you're going to be a student, whether you're going to be a father, mother, whatever the responsibility or whatever engagement you may have in life, you have to be equipped for it, right? It's not that we just sort of go out into the world and go knock on somebody's door and I want to become an electrician, right? Okay, so go and touch the electricity wire and see if you want to be an electrician. It wouldn't be very smart. You have to equip yourself. So this verse is very nicely pointing out that one has to be equipped with the proper elements, with the proper ingredients. You have to be prepared. It's just like, again, if one wants to take on a certain ashram in life, you have to be equipped for it. It's not that, well, you know, I'm attracted, so I think I'll just become a grihasta. And then when the time comes that you have to take on some responsibility, it didn't work out. I don't think it's a good idea. I think I'll do something else. Let me take off. Or again, in any circumstance that we may have in this world, we try to enjoy. You have to be equipped for the responsibilities of it, the reactions of it. So you have to develop the proper qualities. You have to develop the proper qualities to execute your service. As here, Lord Brahma's service, his service is to assist in the creation, to spearhead the creation in the material world. So he has certain responsibilities. So he equipped himself. He made himself eligible with certain qualities, right? Austere penance, adoration, mental concentration, absorption and devotion, accompanied by dispassion. It's not that he was overcome by the passionate mode, because in any position of responsibility, typically that happens. Of course, he has that quality also that to create anything you have to be somewhat passionate. If you're going to be a manager, you need to be somewhat passionate. But controlling the senses, that's the point. The senses have to be controlled. It's not that you just whimsically you engage in some work. That concentration has to be there. And Prabhupada points out here that for the in terms of keeping the body together, as this very interesting point here Prabhupada makes is that the purpose of maintaining the body, to keep the body in good condition for cultivation of spiritual understanding, spiritual knowledge. It's not enough just to, say, for instance, practice yoga just for the purpose of, doing a couple stretches so your body feels good. No, that's obviously not the point. It has to be, as Prabhupada points out here, for the cultivation of a spiritual knowledge. Because for attainment of spiritual knowledge, other qualifications are needed. It's not that, again, we're just simply hoping, or just by some mechanical exercise, you're going to develop a higher understanding. And what is that element? Prabhupada points out here, that element is vidya, and or the correct understanding. Factual knowledge can't be disputed or refuted. So the purpose of yoga, as Prabhupada is pointing out here, or worship of the Supreme Lord, the actual process or the purpose is to gain a correct understanding. And that knowledge has to be there. Again, it can't be just because it's convenient just to avoid it or not. Otherwise, how can you maintain it? You can't. So the knowledge factor, that principle of knowledge, has to be there. There's some very nice instruction given by Chanakya Pandit, where he explains that all directions are void for those with no friends. It's true. If you don't have any friends, where can you go? Everywhere you turn, it's void. There's nothing there. There's no attraction. And we see that practically in the world. People are traveling everywhere. They have to go here, move there. U-Haul is doing real good. People have to go all over the place in so many different places, try and settle themselves, trying to find some kind of a friend or some connection. And when that connection is not there, then all directions are void. And household life, he explains, without a son is void. What is the purpose of having household life if there is no offspring, which, as we're reading earlier, the Shraddha ceremony is performed? There's a purpose. That Shraddha has to be performed so that those descendants, those dearly departed, are saved from the court of Yamaraj. So household life without a son is considered void. For the poor, the whole world is void. And you can see it practically. For those who don't have the means, everything in life is simply a void. There's no purpose to it. And you can see it not only in their face, but in their actions. It's a hopeless cause. And they're running from this place to that place trying to find some relief. So, and then he finally says, avidyam jivanam shunyam, that everything is empty without knowledge. Everything is void without knowledge. So it's so important to have that knowledge. But what kind of knowledge we're hearing here, so nicely described by Srila Prabhupada, that real knowledge, or real vidya, means to have the correct understanding. And it has to be something that can't be refuted or disputed. that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that cannot be disputed. We can see that throughout the Vedic literatures. It's explained very, very clearly. It's described that the Lord is the cause of all causes. And again, there are so many verses and descriptions given in the Vedic literatures, but it can't be disputed that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the summum bonum of everything. Vasudeva Sarvamiti, right? That he's the source, he's the end of all. And the Vedic literatures, again, help us understand that. And this point that here Srila Prabhupada is touching upon, that sometimes yoga is used to refer to some gymnastic performance of different bodily postures which help some mental concentration. There's some use to it, no doubt. There's some use to it, no doubt. It can help someone in some practical work, but generally, the different bodily postures in the yoga systems are accepted by less intelligent because they think that's the end of it all. No. Actually, the Vedas tell us, Vasudeva Parajogo, that Vasudev is the purpose of, is the goal of yoga practice. To practice yoga means to realize Vasudev. It doesn't mean to realize anything else. Vasudeva Param Jnanam, right? That he's the supreme knowledge. Prabhupada is talking here about a knowledge in such a very nice, enlightening way. Knowledge has to be there, vidya. The real understanding has to be there. Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, again, that he's all that is. So, we have to practice with, yoga practice can be there, but it has to be, that has to be the intent. It can't be just, again, some whimsical or casual activity for some other purpose. The real benefit is not derived there. Again, the Niti Shastra tells us that the ornament of the earth, these are very interesting instructions. The ornament of the earth is the king. The earth is in a peaceful state when the king is, when there's a qualified king. If there's, just like we've seen the example of King Vena, right? Because he was such an evil person, the whole of society was disturbed, and the Lord had to make some arrangement where he was eliminated, and Prithu was born of that whole episode. So the king has to be proper, otherwise the earth is in a displaced condition. The ornament of a woman is a good husband. It goes without saying. Again, we're living in a world where people have no regard for one's activities. There's no sense of responsibility. The ornament of the night is the moon. The night becomes very beautiful when the moon is out. We all have that experience. And Vidya Sarvasya Bhushanam. He says that knowledge is the ornament of everything. But again, what kind of knowledge are we talking about? We're talking about transcendental knowledge. We're not interested in mundane ideas. It has to be in accordance with understanding the absolute truth. And so whatever one does, whatever your work may be, the purpose should be to understand or get a correct understanding. Otherwise, again, you're missing the point. This verse very nicely, Srila Prabhupada points out that after creating persons for economic development, Brahma created sages who would set the example for spiritual realization. When he was in a good state of mind, you can say, he created the sages. And their purpose was to promote spiritual realization and give spiritual knowledge. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that one who is enlightened by transcendental knowledge by which nescience is destroyed, that's the point. Then his knowledge reveals everything as the sun lights up the day. So if that element is not there, then it falls short. Here, Brahma, again, equipping himself very nicely, preparing himself for his service. He was in a good state and could produce a good result. So the process of bhakti yoga is such that we have to be equipped. We have to equip ourselves with the proper tools. And Krishna is so kind that he provides us with all of these tools through the Vedic scriptures, through the association of devotees, through the spiritual master, through the general practices of bhakti yoga. He makes himself available in so many different ways. So being equipped properly, one can engage in that service in a very productive way. And as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that when one is equipped properly, apichedashi papebhyo, right, that you can transcend and cross over the ocean of miseries. So just some few thoughts about this wonderful verse and purport. Any questions or comments? Jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.